Men say they are freezing.
Welcome to a 1v1 on Colony Fermo Winter. I think this will be the first time I've cast this map this patch. As far as I'm aware, there's no changes to this map, right? I don't think so. Angleville is the only map I'm aware of that has received changes.
Fresh conscripts have arrived.
Sorry, I got a Steam message about important behind-the-scenes tournament stuff. It's okay, everything under control. So this game is going to be Lumpy versus CelticsREP, who I think I recognize. Obviously I know who Lumpy is. We're going to see 3 conscript opening from Lumpy on the right side, playing as Soviets. He's got guard, motor, mechanized support, and shock rifle. So pretty much standard Soviet stuff. I'm not really expecting mechanized support on this map, I don't think. Guess it could happen though. ISU's been bumped up to 14 CPs. That's the only major change since I've last been casting.
Objective secured. We will defend it to the death.
Combat engineers and conscripts making their way across the south. These 2 squads of conscripts working the north. Stern pioneers here from CelticsREP jump into the building to secure the fuel point for now. And he's going to be going with Luftwaffe fortifications and scavenge doctrines, so also no elite armor or any crazy wacky doctrines from him. It looks like Lumpy will be overwhelmed here in the north, having fielded only half of his army to this engagement. He's way outnumbered. He doesn't have the building, so there's not really anything he can do to take this engagement. He will retreat out of there, taking minor losses and a lot of damage. He may even consider some early healing, because this squad will not be combat capable with that much damage on them, especially since he has not inflicted that much in return. So pretty rough start for Lumpy right there, but he is going to get control of the center munitions point with this squad of conscripts taking up position in green cover. No tech yet from CelticsREP, and Lumpy looks like he will be going with the 3 cons, 2 combat engineers into tier 1, maybe with a scout car, or at least scout car can be effective against Oberkommando West. In my past experience, I would assume that that still pretty much holds true, although the camo Rakettenwerfer might make that a little more scary. Yeah, Price. Sure. If it's a good game. Your games tend to sometimes be good, maybe. Kind of quiet right now. CelticsREP gave up control of the church right here, just poking at it from range. It looks like we will see a tech decision here in the north. Maybe a battle group, I guess? I don't know. I think he looks a little bit indecisive right here. Lumpy slowly poking his way up around the left flank. Flamethrower up here, and a 4th squad of conscripts also, so maybe not actually any tier 1 units. He could have afforded one by now if he wanted, so he may not be intending on actually purchasing anything out of his tier 1. By going tier 1 straight to tier 3 or whatever he's going to do next, he does sacrifice his ability to get AT guns, so it's kind of a risky move. Flamethrower's not quite in range. At this range, I think CelticsREP will win this engagement, but the Stern Pioneers are getting focused down, so that's a bit of bleed. Of course, they do have the lower reinforced cost now. Meanwhile, our squad of Volksgrenadiers has circled all the way around towards this point in the south. Is winning this engagement against these conscripts, but I'm not sure what they're really intending to accomplish down there. MG34 has been fielded. That's fortifications doctrine chosen. With that squad on the flank of Lumpy's infantry here in green cover, he will be forced to retreat, but a squad got wiped just now. I missed it. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, on the flank right there. They just got shot down by conscripts. Red Wings with the 60 viewer host. Thank you, Red Wings. I hope you were successful in your game against Quinn Scruffy, whose mysterious identity is still unknown. Folks Grenadiers will lose this engagement. Support's not going to get there in time. He should probably start thinking about retreating that squad. Fortunately for him, Lumpy has not teched Molotovs and his flamethrower is not available to support. There's Lumpy's Minesweeper on his second squad of combat engineers, and he's going to jump into tier 3 now. And he can get a tier 3 vehicle out already. It's only 6 minutes into the game. There's the retreat on that Folks Grenadier squad, getting them to safety.
Your command? It is now under our control.
So 2 MG34 build here from Celtics. Still no tech. There it is at 7 minutes. He throws down a battle group headquarters. That's going to significantly delay all his entire tech tree. I feel like 7 minutes is quite late to be putting that down. But he must have felt that he needed, I don't know, the manpower for the MG34s or something. Even after purchasing it, though, he still has 500 in the bank. So a little bit late on that tech decision. Maybe he just wasn't sure what to build or where to build it. He was kind of hovering in this area for a while, but didn't feel comfortable with his opponent's level of aggression. Conscripts moving up into the building and into cover positions to engage against these Sturm Pioneers. Minesweeper won't be able to do too much, but they are on the flank right there. The MG34 in the house is going to prevent these units from advancing any further. Looks like Lumpy is going to struggle to advance beyond this point, especially with the battle group headquarters available for healing and reinforcement here. And another light defensive position is set up to defend the north fuel, but Lumpy definitely has the territory advantage right now. Sturm Pioneers moving around the left side, move to engage against the Minesweeper. I'm not even sure who's going to win that fight. Apparently Lumpy doesn't like it, but they were very low. Combat Engineers had a decent chance of picking off 1 or 2 models, forcing that retreat, I think. Demo charge down on the VP. I think Celtics may have spotted it with this Folks Grenadier squad, though. Flamethrower will probably lose this engagement, especially if they don't close the distance somehow. Getting picked off at range will probably be forced away. Lumpy will simply reposition them behind this shot blocker, maybe try and just hope that his opponent's going to walk into that demo charge, which would be devastating, to say the least. Meanwhile, the engagement for the middle will see those conscripts retreating, and here comes Lumpy's T-70, hitting the field at about 8.5 minutes, and probably picking up a wipe already. There is a Rakettenwerfer on the field to counter this, but it will be too late to save that Sturm Pioneer squad, I think. There it goes. Sturm Pioneers wiped. Oh, that lucky engine damage on the T-70's rear armor. It may not be able to get away. I don't see any squads nearby that are going to be able to repair that. That was a bit of bad luck for Lumpy, but the Rakettenwerfer is being lazy about chasing, so T-70 might escape. If he had circled this around towards the south, towards the T-70's one escape route, he probably could have killed that. I'm surprised. Maybe he didn't even notice that he inflicted engine damage, but that should be a dead light tank for sure.
Conscripts can now attack tanks with AT grenades.
Lumpy pops self-repair, but oh wow, that heals the engine? I didn't know that. That's very interesting. Apparently, if you pop self-repair after 1 Rakettenwerfer shot, your engine will be restored now. Is there any RNG involved in that, or is that a guaranteed engine repair? Because that is definitely new and pretty cool. I forgot about that aspect of engine damage. Folks Grenadiers jump into green cover over here behind the church. This engagement is still just very slow back and forth, engaging at range and cover in buildings. Both of them very much struggling to take control of the munitions. Those Folks Grenadiers stuck around far too long. The Rakettenwerfer is in the building, so this T-70, oh, Rakettenwerfer shot just hit the wall. T-70 will continue the chase, but through the blizzard it has reduced speed. Doesn't matter. Picks up that snipe. Another Rakettenwerfer shot on the rear armor of the T-70. It makes the exact same maneuver it made before, and will get through unharmed again. And combat engineers this time are waiting at the T-70's escape route to execute repairs, and again the Raketten Warfare makes no effort to chase or punish, so the T-70 will pick up yet another wipe in exchange for nothing. A couple squads over here on the right side look like they were engaged, but Lumpy must have taken the engagement. He is grabbing the right side victory point and fuel. And shock troops have been fielded, so that is shock rifle chosen, which is definitely going to help him overwhelm his opponent's defensive positions in the center or north, wherever he chooses to field them, especially if done so in conjunction with the T-70, and a Su-76 is in production. Meanwhile, his opponent has gotten an infantry support gun, which even with the cost reduction is still kind of expensive when you've lost several full squads. He has replaced his lost squad of Sturm Pioneers, but he might want to consider throwing out one or two more Volksgrenadier squads to beef up his infantry a little bit. Up against 6 squads of combat-capable infantry, having only 2 of your own is very rough. Puts a heavy burden on your team weapons to perform extremely well. And I think that Lumpy could be taking slightly more advantage of the fact that the very north flank is completely open and uncontested. This point has not even been taken by either player, which 12 minutes into the game is a little strange. Somebody should go get it. Shock troops moving up from the south. Flanking flamethrower coming in from the right. The T-70 is on, or Su-76 is on its way to support in the engagement, and the T-70 moving up from the south as well. I think the timing on this push could have been executed a little bit better. T-70's not really moving in at all. Just sending in squads one, 2, or 3 at a time rather than executing a big, multifaceted push. Allowed Celtics to push Lumpy back pretty easily right there, just with the one machine gun, really, and a little supporting infantry. Su-76 barrage did some light damage though, forced the squad from the church, picked up 2 kills. T-70 is pulling back a little bit further into the south, where it will probably quite easily be able to chase off these squads if they overextend. Especially this one with barely any health remaining. Volksgrenadiers here taking control of the north fuel point. Just kind of walking into a machine gun here. Isn't working too great. So much for that push. Su-76 is on its way towards the north to get maybe some damage on that building. And the T-70 will continue working at the center. Smoke grenade tossed by these shock troops to give these infantry a chance to advance. And a high explosive barrage is actually being fired towards the center machine gun. It doesn't look like that was quite on target, but it's not repositioning. Oh, the church collapses also as a result of that barrage. No serious damage though. Conscripts engaging the heavily wounded Volksgrenadiers way here in the south do make it to a green cover position, and that's almost a wipe before he notices what's happening. T-70 moving up to engage. The machine gun is going to start taking Raketten Warfare fire. Late reaction by Lumpy, and it might go down. There it goes. T-70, unmonitored under Raketten Warfare fire, is destroyed. Paying attention to the engagement here in the center where his shock troops are going to get pinned down by that machine gun and burst hard by the Sturm Pioneers at close range. Ooh, sneaky grenade. They will react just barely in time though. Conscripts hoorah up into close range, but they do get pinned by that one burst charging across red cover. Flanking squad moving up from the south, however, will convince that machine gun to retreat. Infantry support gun laying fire on these infantry as they advance. May get a miracle hit and shut this push down entirely, but it probably doesn't even matter. Sitting here in red cover, they will not be able to do enough damage to force any retreats, especially not with that battle group headquarters right there. So far, Lumpy has not put any pressure on this structure directly. The only tool he really has of doing that is his Su-76, and even that would not be very much pressure. He would probably need a little more indirect fire of some kind to start putting pressure on the battle group itself, and he seems more preoccupied with fuel harassment and victory point harassment here in the north. But even with VP harassment, if he doesn't take this and set up a triple cap, the VP situation is going to change very drastically. Even after this 16-minute game, both players still hovering near 400 VPs, with Lumpy having a pretty decent lead. And still nobody's taken this point. Couple squads healing and reinforcing in Lumpy's base, while he has another handful of squads doing light harassment attempts in the north. His opponent sending what very battered forces he can, almost loses his vetted Sternpire squad right there just to conscripts. And it looks like he didn't bring enough firepower to this engagement. Those conscripts will be able to get that. What happened? Is there a wipe in the south? There's a wipe somewhere. Demo charge? I don't know what happened. Something got wiped. Missed it. Maybe a miracle SU-76 hit or something. It does have 5 kills. I'm not sure. Not sure what happened. Shock troops scare some infantry off here in the south. MG-34 is grabbing the munitions in the middle. Ooh, Lumpy walked right into the tier 4 structure up here. Came very close to losing his conscript squad. He's actually going to be going with a second T-70. Even though he knows there's a tier 4 up, he's not afraid of anything like a Panzer IV yet. Maybe he's confident that his SU-76 will provide sufficient protection. Ooh, late reaction on that flamethrower. They take a big hit from the infantry support gun, but they do get away safely, fortunately. For Lumpy, conscripts get engaged by a machine gun right here, even though it's at a very low health. I'm not sure it had lost that engagement. But, they will retreat. Lumpy will be able to take control of the right side of the map. He did bring a fresh T-70 up to support anyway. So it would take a pretty significant effort from Celtics to maintain control of the right side of the map. And he's clearly struggling for map control right now. If he can't maintain at least a fuel point and a few strategic points, his resource situation is not going to improve. Getting to a Panzer IV could probably help him a lot, but 30 fuel is a lot of fuel. And that would exhaust completely his fuel reserves, and he'd have to get extremely good mileage out of that one medium tank against his opponent's heavy investment into light tanks and assault gun. These two squads making their way towards the south to engage against a Minesweeper squad. Have no problem winning that engagement. Lumpy will be chased off with 2 Panzer Shreks. A T-70 may struggle to actually push this back. Volksgrenadiers jumping inside of this building are sufficient to convince those conscripts to retreat. Finally, somebody's trying for this point here in the north, but Oversoldaten are going to head off the conscript squad. They don't have the LMG yet, but it clearly doesn't matter. Even they're just standard damages. Definitely enough to chase that squad away, but the T-70 is a pretty serious problem. Only 1 Panzer Shrek squad available to protect. Bit of a late reaction by those overs to get to safety, though. They're taking heavy damage and they're very clumped. Ooh, so much bleed. What are they doing? They could get wiped right here. Oh, jeez. Must have been monitoring an engagement in the center where he is going to be trying to push back a flamethrower and conscript squad successfully. But he just lost a full squad of overs and almost that full Volksgrenadier squad. If Lumpy had just chased a little bit, actually. If he had kited rather than fully retreating, that could have been another wipe.
Enemy flanking us!
But it does look like Lumpy's infantry push in the middle is costing him quite a bit in manpower bleed, and he's not really inflicting that much damage other than taking control of this munitions point briefly, which definitely is a significant victory. He will probably wipe this machine gun as well. That's Vet 2, and the weapon is destroyed, and the shock troops make it into close range on this infantry support gun. So I take that back. Lumpy will inflict devastating harm upon his opponent with this shock troop squad that finally finds an opening on the battle group. Makes it a steal attempt, but it's not going to happen. Stern Pioneers available. Make sure that does not happen, and the shock troop should get gunned down. There they go. Infantry support gun will be maintained. Infantry situation not looking great, though, for Celtics, although he's actually got 700 manpower in the bank despite all these losses and replacing some of these losses. He's still maintaining a pretty okay looking infantry corps despite a lot of damage. Let's actually look at numbers, though. I guess kill counts are pretty even. For as much damage as Lumpy looks like he's inflicted with his T-70 and shock troops, he's lost just as many units just charging across this red cover position. So it's been a pretty brutal game on both sides, in all fairness. Bit of a ceasefire now, giving Celtics a bit of time to throw up a Pack 43. That's going to be problematic. Lumpy doesn't have an ML-20 or anything like that in his commander, but he of course still has the good old-fashioned incendiary artillery to at least decrew it. Does not have any tools with which to destroy it, and it's going to create a very dangerous zone for everything Lumpy currently has. This is probably going to represent a bit of a turning point for Celtics, where Lumpy can no longer attack in the center without being in extreme danger. Grenade and Molotov exchange here. Ooh, that demo charge. Why would he retreat? There's a Panzerschreck sitting on the ground. And there are no enemies nearby. Okay. Probably a knee-jerk reaction. He just saw them in low health. Well, no, that's not true. He just detonated the demo charge. I don't know. He shouldn't have retreated. Should have picked up that Panzerschreck. Shock troops and conscripts taking control here of the middle, but they will get gunned down by a machine gun again. No smoke being deployed to cover their advance, and they are forced to retreat once again. Flamethrower moving up from the right side, where Captain Warfare will push back this T-70, and everywhere that Lumpy is probing, he is failing to make any real headway. He can't flank too deep because the Tier 4 is protecting back here. And I think one of the biggest reasons his pushes are not completely executing and sealing the deal is because he's not attacking the same location from two different directions. If you were to bring like one T-70 from behind the church and then another one from this direction, well, the push would still totally fail because of the Pack 43. Now that that exists, he really can't get too close with anything. Su-76 barrage might be able to clear it out, but incendiary artillery is going to be the best tool for that job. Somebody's gonna pick this up, right? Okay. Folks, Grenadier Squad recovers the Panzerschreck. Lumpy I think he just didn't notice. He must have just not noticed that it was even sitting there. Big charge by Lumpy here. All of his infantry practically being fielded into the center, but it's getting suppressed pretty badly. Molotov onto the machine gun starts to do damage. They will be forced to retreat. Take a little damage right there, and the Pack 43 is spotted. A KV-8 going in on the Tier 4 structure is taking heavy damage. It might be destroyed, but not before taking the Tier 4 with it. And it looks like it is going to get away by a tiny little bit of health. Molotov being tossed onto the Pack 43. It's trying to out-reinforce the damage, but it's not going to happen. A Panzer IV has finally made it to the field, but rather than chasing down the heavily damaged KV-8, it's going to move to defend here in the center. Try and push away some of these infantry, maybe try and clean up that T-70. That squad of conscripts is just about committing suicide. Diving into Stern Pioneers, and with the hull gun of this Panzer IV firing a little bit maybe. Oh, thanks for the host, Bone Bleeder. I think I heard a grenade? I don't know what just happened. Something just happened. Oh, these shock troops. They did throw a grenade and they blew themselves up. It hit the truck and they all died. Oh my god. Lumpy, please don't blow yourself up on your own grenade. Oops. It's okay, it happened off camera. It happened off camera. At least I didn't like do it in slow-mo and zoom in on it or anything. Oh wow. At the same time, apparently a demo charge wiped 2 Volksgrenadier squads with Panzerschrecks, maybe? Or maybe just 1 squad with double Shrek, I don't know, I missed it. Simultaneously, at 2 different points of the map, squads exploded due to... Lumpy was responsible for both explosions. And I missed both of them. Oh well. Conscripts on their way to recover the Shreks. The Stern Pioneers will not get there in time. Lumpy takes control of both of these, which he's gonna do, right? Where's he going? What do you... Hello? Okay. Whatever, he doesn't need those Panzerschrecks. Anyway, he's got this game on lock. I guess. Stern Pioneers repairing the Panzer IV here in the north. T-70 also needs a little bit of... Everything Lumpy has, in fact, needs repairs. I don't think he's lost a vehicle yet. His entire fleet of light vehicles plus his call-in tank all alive and well. That is a call-in, right? Yeah. There goes that squad. Panzer IV is going to move to try and retake some territory in the north. There we go. This squad of conscripts recovers both Panzerschrecks. I almost think he should spread them out on multiple squads, but I guess... Depends on what you want to do. Conscripts moving around the south flank right here. Ooh, almost wiping another squad of Volksgrenadiers with a lucky Su-76 hit, but they do get away. Barely. Kenworth for a machine gun, both at risk in this barrage radius, taking heavy damage. Need to pull back for some healing. But they stick around long enough to push back Lumpy's infantry. Force a couple of retreats. The KV-8 is fully repaired and making its way towards the north. Panzer IV has disengaged away from the north. Might be able to help a little bit here in the middle or south against the T-70s. It's just one Panzer IV. It has a lot of work to do, has a lot of priority targets to destroy, and it's just been kind of lazy about it. It's just sitting there. It needs to get active and get aggressive while it does have a brief advantage. Lumpy doesn't even have a counter to it other than the stolen Panzerschrecks, really. With Minesweeper support, that Panzer IV should be able to bully Lumpy completely off the field, starting preferably with the Su-76, which actually does have a gun that can hurt it a little bit, but obviously Panzer IV wins that fight. I don't think that it should be going straight for the KV-8, because that's a pretty heavily armored target. It would be difficult for him to take it out unpunished. Should try and go for the more fragile light vehicles first, in my opinion. I definitely think it should be doing something before the IS-2 arrives. Once the IS-2 comes, that Panzer IV is not going to be the biggest tank on the field anymore. It's a very limited window of opportunity Celtics has with his terrible map control this game. We should definitely try and take advantage of it. More conscripts forced to retreat from machine gun fire in the middle. Lumpy has been struggling to deal with the threat of machine guns this game because this is a Vet 5 MG34. He's just been walking into this thing all game. Oh my god, Panzer IV destroyed by the Su-76 plus flanking Panzerschreck squad up here. Oh, I went to take a sip of coffee and it died. I missed every climactic explosion this game. I swear to god, I'm the worst caster ever. I can't even believe that just happened. That Panzer IV did nothing. I was expecting it to have a much more dramatic impact this game, but that goes to show what happens when you give 2 Panzer Shreks to the enemy. You're gonna have a bad time.
Enemy movement! On the flank! Through!
Pack 43 was not able to punish the Su-76 in any way either before being cleared by Molotovs and other threats, and with the loss of that Panzer IV, there may not be any way for Celtics to recover this game. He has exhausted all of his fuel reserves, and Lumpy has not lost a single vehicle. My suggestion is double Raketenwerfer. At no point did he get his second Raketenwerfer. At least that's from what I've seen. That's in mines, I guess. I don't know. I'm not in a position to be giving advice. But yeah, I think we can definitely agree that management of those T-70s was Celtic's biggest weakness this game. Lumpy didn't even use the M5, which people complain about more. I kind of want to see the M5 more. I feel like I haven't seen the M5 enough to actually say, yeah, it's definitely overpowered. You'd think I would see it fielded more frequently if it really was that good. T-70 seems to be a little more appealing for whatever reason, at least to some people. IS-2 is on its way as well, so this game definitely over. GG. Allies win.